I'm Connor Jessup, and I'm the writer and director of Julian and the Wind, which is having its international premiere in the 14+ section of Generation.
Hi and welcome to the 39th Teddy Awards. My name is Jan-Felix Wuttig and today I'm here with Connor Jessup to talk about his film Julian and the Wind. Connor?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our pleasure. Julian and the Wind is a very beautiful film about, well, on the surface level, about unrequited love and a surprising sort of intimacy between two people developing, two schoolboys developing. Can you tell me how you came up with the idea for the film?
Yeah, I mean, I think usually, I wish always that I had a clearer start point for things. The way things always seem to work is that it slowly, like, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, it's like it bleeds in from the edges. Mm-hmm. So you start to gather like small images and ideas for sounds and images, and then they sort of like kind of somehow over time make a shape. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a singular source of inspiration. But I've always been interested in sleep in movies, especially in sleepwalking, which I don't sleepwalk, but I find the concept fascinating. Yeah. And I think the fact that we just accept it as a normal part of life is strange. Yeah. And also I think like many people, like most people, you know, the experience of unrequited love is powerful, and I've experienced it, and it creates a weird state in you where you feel like you are simultaneously very close to somebody and very far away from them at the same time. True, yeah. And I wanted to find a way of depicting that feeling of being able to be very intimate with someone, but also feel very distant from them. Yeah. And being with someone who's sleepwalking felt like a good image for that.
Yeah, true. I felt also that the sort of the image of sleepwalking, but also the wind itself, it has this sort of otherworldly quality to it, because it's almost like something calls Julian away.
Which is also, I think, how longing feels to me. It feels like a little bit like when you're really in the pit of it, you feel like you're outside of the world. Yeah, very much so.
I was quite impressed. I mean, Julian and the Wind is by no means a long film, but I was quite impressed with how how well we get to know the characters. Because Arthur, for example, you know, like judging by the pictures in his bedroom, he could be this run-of-the-mill jock, you know, like this. Yeah. But then again, for example, he slips Arthur a note. Sorry, yes. I was talking about Julian. Yes. Julian slips Arthur a note saying, "Leave me alone."
Yes.
He could do that quite differently. You know, he could humiliate him in front of all his friends or anything like that.
In fact, we had a long debate about this because he gives him a note that says, "Please stop watching me," with a smiley face. Yeah. And there was a lot of debate about the smiley face.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And also, there was a scene that was cut from the film where he, like a brief moment right after that, where he body checks him in the hallway. Like it's almost more physical.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we decided that keeping it, he's not a dick. Yeah. You know, like he lives a certain type of life at this moment, but he's not a bad person, and he's not a violent person. Yeah.
Did you go through a lot of these changes when you were developing the film?
I think you have to. I mean, I think just making movies is there's so many thousands of small choices that's like all it is making these tiny choices that add up, hopefully, if it works at all, to some sort of aggregate that feels cohesive. So yeah, and I'm very indecisive. So we're constantly changing our minds, swapping things out at the last moment, then swapping them back. I envy people who can go in and be like, this is exactly what it is. Although it doesn't seem to add up to me to like, that's not, at least in my understanding of it, that's not how you make things because you don't understand. You know? You don't make things because
true.
you do understand. That would be boring, I feel like. So you're trying to figure it out as you're doing it.
Of course. You're kind of using the film to get clear about things.
And also to get clear about the ideas, but also to get clear about like what you like and why you like the blue curtain instead of the brown curtain. You know, it's like you don't really know, but you're trying to ask. So it's like getting to know yourself too.
Very much. How did you work with your two main actors because they have quite the screen chemistry. And that's kind of what really gets this relationship going in your mind. If you see them interacting and you see there's kind of this kind of tenderness, which is sort of unrequited at first, but you can see that it has a sort of basis in the end.
Well, thank you. I mean, I can't take a lot of credit for that. I think we got lucky with them. They were just good, and they understood what we were trying to do. And I think because there's very little dialogue, they don't really say much, and they don't really say much to each other, especially. So you sort of had to just find two people who, by their presence physically, both individually and together, created the effect. And that's just luck, I think, more than anything. You can't really manufacture that. And I think we also wanted people who fit a certain, at first glance, fit a certain type, so that you could see them standing next to each other across a room, and they felt immediately very different, or they seemed to embody like a trope, exactly. But that they had some tenderness or some intelligence underneath that, so that the more you looked at them, the less sure you were. So we just got lucky that we found them. And I mean, working with actors is a struggle for me, to be honest. We got lucky because they're amazing. But I'm an actor, I came from an acting background, and I think it's cursed me. Like, I think in terms of that part of the job, because I think you have to go in with a little bit more like firmness and confidence working with actors, and I just know too much about how much it sucks. And also I'm terrified of actors, I think. Because I think I still don't understand acting. I think I understand acting less now than I did when I started, when I was 10. So I think I'm very scared of it. So I need to learn. So I talk too much in the end, and I try and explain things, which a lot of actors don't. It's not helpful. I think I told myself, actually, when I finished this, I told myself that I was going to go into the next, whatever I did next, and write in Sharpie on my wrist, say less. So that before every blocking and every scene, I could just shut the fuck up.
But I think like according to some interviews that I've seen, some actors are quite. Some seem to rely very much on notes from the directors. Others.
And this is the other thing: is like every actor needs something and wants something different. A lot of actors, if they don't want to know, it's not helpful to know what the scene is about or what you're trying to do. Or like that's not the way in. But other actors really love that and thrive on that. So it's sort of like managing people, I think. And it's not just actors, it's also true with the cinematographer and sound designer. You know, it's like you have to get to know the people you're working with and how they communicate. Very much so. Yeah, actors are just particularly sensitive.
I think I saw an interview recently where an actor turned director also said, like, if you're sitting behind the camera and all you want to say to the actor in front of the camera, just say the lines, please just say the lines. But that's just one person talking about one experience. It can be quite different.
I think sometimes actors want to, because it's so terrifying, this job, and you want to like mystify it in order to explain the terror to yourself. So it becomes like people sometimes. It's also like if you read acting books, sometimes it almost they sound like like cults, like self-help cult. It's like very religious language almost. I'm like, doesn't have to be that hard, you know? And I think the best directors that I've worked with as an actor are always the ones who demystify it. So it's not indulging the high language. It's just very simple and direct and faster, slower.
True.
You know, pause there. So it doesn't have to be some crazy concept. I also think if you have a basis of understanding, so that you're going into the project and you know what the goal of the thing is, then if I say, or if someone says to me, a bit faster here, or take your time with it here, you kind of can why. It doesn't need to be explained.
Very much so. Yeah. Sometimes I think a mystification is just another word for not knowing what the plan
exactly.
is. Yeah. Very much. Do you feel that you learned something about yourself now working on Julian and the Wind?
A lot. I think. I mean, the great thing about shorts is that you can learn a lot with relatively little consequence. You know, like I'm not bankrupting any investors. And if it's a total disaster, people tend not to hold it against you in the same way. I mean, I learned a lot of very practical things. Like I edited the film myself, and I'll never do that again.
Okay.
Not in a million years. You couldn't with a gun to my head.
Okay.
I would co-edit maybe, but that was a disaster. All of my worst qualities came out when I was alone editing. So never again. I think I learned say less, which is half a joke, but half true also, which is it comes from insecurity. The like just babbling, because people are staring at you like they don't know what you're talking about. And I also think, but part of that is like leaving room for other people, but also for yourself to like not know, you know, because sometimes it's important to do a rehearsal or a take or 2 takes or 3 takes, not really knowing, because that's how you, how you figure it out. And there's a temptation to be like, to seem to other people like you know, which I think kills something before it even has a chance to like become something more interesting. So there's that. And I think going into this, one of my missions was in the past with other stuff I've done, I tend to be pretty rigid in the sense of like, this is what I want it to look like, and this is how I want it to feel, which doesn't come from a place of, in the past hasn't come from a place of strength. It's come from a place of fear. And I wanted to go into this and make something that felt and was, in both its effect, but also in the process, looser. And I think to some extent we did that, but I think it was like a halfway journey. So I would like to continue to explore looseness.
Without spoiling too much, is there any project you have in the pipeline where you think you can kind of further that process?
Yeah, hopefully. There's a few. A couple things I'm doing as an actor, which are exciting, and then a couple things as a filmmaker. I mean, really, I need to make and I'm hoping soon to make my first feature. All right. Because my producer has told me I'm not allowed to make any more shorts. Okay. So, yeah, I don't have a choice at this point. Yeah.
Well, that can be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be forced. Yeah.
Okay, Connor, I think that's it from me.
Amazing.
I want to thank you so much again for taking the time. And,
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope you have a beautiful rest of the Berlinale.
Thank you. Good luck with the rest of these.
Yeah, thank you. Our pleasure.